Man, welcome tonight. You got your main man in the house, and this is the one and only Coach Tony. And I want to thank each and every one of you guys for your complete support for our entire year. As we come to a close of our first year episode 122 of the Pull Up Podcast Show, and of course, I'm the one and only Coach Tony. I told us from the beginning that this is one of the hottest sports podcasts that hit the airways, and we've done it. We've closed in on a year. So I'm actually excited. And with a guest that we've got tonight, you're going to be even more excited. This person is going to come to you from Tobacco Road. Anyone knows the game of basketball, know Tobacco Road is down in the North Carolina area. But this guy's got more miles in the NBA than Southwest got, in air frequencies. But we're going to talk a little bit about that. But before we talk about the guest and bring him out, Val, you know what to do. Drop.
It's the Pull Up Podcast. It's the Pull Up Podcast. It's the Pull Up Podcast. Pull up, pull up. It's the Pull Up Podcast. It's the Pull Up Podcast. It's the Pull Up Podcast. Pull up, pull up. Bounce the boys and Coach Tony, you know. It's the Pull Up Podcast. So, I said bounce the boys and Coach Tony, you know. It's the Pull Up Podcast. So, it's the Pull Up Podcast. It's the Pull Up Podcast. It's the Pull Up Podcast. So.
Man, welcome to the Pull Up Podcast Show. And you got your guy right here, the one and only Coach Tony. But before we get started, make sure you do a couple things for me. Make sure you like the show. Make sure you share it with your friends. Make sure your friends share it with other friends. But more importantly, if you haven't subscribed to the show, make sure you hit that little button right there that says subscribe, because we are rocking and rolling. Tonight, coming from Tobacco Road. For those that don't know, Tobacco Road is down in that North Kakalaka, North Carolina, South Carolina, Virginia, that area down there. By the way of North Brunswick High School. Ooh, man, coming into Wolfpack country. And for those that don't know what Wolfpack country is, we're going to let you know who that is once he gets here. Playing for one of the most esteemed college coaches that ever coached the game. As a matter of fact, if you are a basketball fan, you know that at a certain time of the year, college basketball focuses on the V Foundation, fight cancer. We're going to talk a little bit about that. And it's the only show that you can find this information out about. He's an NBA champion, first team All ACC, 1989. Yeah, man. And also, the brother was Mr. Basketball at Tobacco Land, North Carolina. Let's bring to the show tonight my guy, my one and only, Chucky Brown, baby. Coach.
What's going on, man? How you doing?
Man, you like me, baby. Road warrior, man. Hitting them highways. I just got off coming back from ATL this weekend with my AAU team. So I know you're on the road, man, working, man. So I appreciate you just bumping into the show tonight, man.
Yeah, well, thank you for having me, man. I appreciate it.
Oh, man, ain't no problem. We're going to jump in here. Man, we got a lot of people. We got my guy, James Ward, down from Tobacco Land, North Carolina, told me, what's up, Chucky? I'm going to be talking to he. Oh, by the way, he a Tar Heel fan. So I'm about to love this show.
Hey, that's all right. Everybody make mistakes.
Hey, that's what I told him. That's what I told him. So everybody make a mistake every now and then. You know, you get to that fork in the road, you got to know which way you're going to dip. Left, dip right. You know, see what's up. My homeboy, Derek Reed, checking in tonight from Michigan State. Wise, his brother name is Wise, man. He always kills us with the nice media, man. Wise always knows, man. So thank you for checking in. Man, Coach, let's get started, man. Tell us a little bit, man, coming out of North Brunswick High School down in North Carolina, man. How was all that coming through high school, man, and playing basketball?
It was great. I actually moved. I spent my first 9 years of school, or my first year of high school, in the Bronx at Cardinal Hayes High School, and it was great. Moving to North Carolina, actually becoming the first Mr. Basketball. So I mean, it was great, man. I had a great time. Was able to meet a great coach, my high school coach, Coach Cliff Gibson, and he helped me get to NC State, and then I met Coach Ralvano. I mean, it was great, man. It was a fun time. It was a fun time.
Man, that's all. Now, did you have like was your dad a ball player? Your brother, any siblings, anybody? How did the game of basketball? Because I know, you know how they all the old saying, you can't teach height. All you can do is develop it. And we know
Right.
you end up getting to be pretty long. But how did basketball become that love for you?
Actually, like I just played it all the time in the park. My cousins played. I had cousins that played Division I basketball, and when I used to go to South Carolina to play, just for the summers, I would play with them. And when I was in New York, a lot of times, my friends and I, we would go to the park and play. And then, when I moved to North Carolina, I had a friend who had a basketball hoop in his driveway. So, and we used to play, play in his driveway. So it was just it was just a fun thing, man, just to get out and play. And it was just for fun. Like when I tried out my freshman year at Cardinal Hayes, I got cut. Coach Murray told me to come back, but then I told him that I was moving because my grandmother got sick and my father wanted to move back closer to her.
Oh man, see, and that's funny. Again, I just had a couple conversations with some of my teams this week. Some of these guys see roadblocks and getting cut. Tobacco Road tough. Jordan got cut freshman year, and they
Right.
bounce back. I tell the guys, when you get cut sometime and you see the adversity right there, what you end up doing instead of, taking it negative and talk about the coach and really downgrade it, man, look inside yourself and find out maybe what you don't have to kind of then put that work in. When you got cut, and how did that make you feel? And what did you do to bounce back?
I mean, it didn't. I had given all that I had, and I just realized, what, I got to get better. So it didn't hurt my feelings. It made me want to just play more, and it made me hungry, and it made me want to go work on my game more. So that's what I did. I just went and worked on my game a little more and got better. And then I ended up, like I said, moving to North Carolina. And, my sophomore year, I made varsity. And, how it made me feel, it just made me hungrier and wanted more because I felt like I was good enough. But, I didn't stand out enough. So I wanted the next time that I was going to try out for a team, I was going to make sure I stood out at something. Whether it be defensively, whether it be rebounding, I was going to stand out, at something, and I did that.
Now, before you kind of put on about, coming through freshman, sophomore year, about how tall were you at that time before you kind of got up to your current height, 6'8", 6'9"?
Okay, so I was about 5'10" as a freshman.
Wow. Okay.
And over that summer, I had a lot of like they say, growing pains. That's real.
Yeah,
My
that's
body
real.
was hurting, and I didn't realize that I was growing. I was sleeping a lot, and I remember one day coming downstairs and like I was looking at the top of my mother's head. So I grew to like 6'5" over a summer, and it was
Wow.
like whoa. It was like whoa. So then I realized I had grown and stuff. So I mean it was strange because my body was hurting. My body was hurting. My back was hurting. My knees were hurting, and but I was growing and didn't realize it.
Yeah, man. And now that makes sense because if you're sitting that freshman year, you're 5'10", the coach is looking at you as a guard. He's
Right.
looking at your
Right.
handles. He's looking at how you can shoot. If you're a
Right.
guard, now you bounce back the next year and you pretty much one of the bigger guys on the team. Now you move from a guard to a slot position out on the wing. And now you're
Right.
sitting at 6'5", and the coach is like, wow, okay, this is a different kid. And
Yep.
we now got a need for that. And now you coming back in hungry and you coming back in beast mode. So how
Right.
was when you got on that team? Was that high school team? Were you guys pretty good?
Yeah, we're pretty good. I believe we finished first in the conference that year. We had some good seniors: Tim Baldwin, Mike Oliver, John Robbins. We had those were our seniors, and we had a good point guard. Derek Blanks was our point guard. Herbert Robbins was our power forward. So we had a good group that year. We beat a lot of the rivals that we hadn't beaten before, or the school hadn't beaten before. But that year, we did have a good run and beat them.
Oh, that's dope. Now, did you were you able to win a high school state championship by any time?
No, we weren't able to win. We didn't win the high school state championship, but we were ranked that year. We were ranked probably like fourth or fifth in the state. And my senior year, I can tell you, we were ranked number one in the state, but never had a chance to win. Never won it.
Oh, wow. That so when the recruiting kicked off, and all of a sudden, how did that make you feel? Like, what were some of the first schools that came at you?
Some of the first school that actually came at me was a small school. Oh man, what was the name of that school? It's a D1 school. They got the, hold on, I gotta remember the name of the school. But it was a small school in South Carolina. Oh man, I can't think of the name. But they're the Terriers. They shoot a lot of threes now. They beat Carolina, but that was the first school. I can't. Wofford, that's it. Wofford. Wofford
Oh
was
yeah,
the
well,
first
yeah.
school. Yeah, Wofford was the first school to come after me and send me letters and give me an offer. That was the first school, was Wofford, and then after that, other schools came in, but Wofford was the first one. Wofford was the
Oh
first
man,
one.
that's amazing. I know Walford very well, man. I got a kid of mine that played in my first national championship that I won in
Okay.
'05 here when I moved to Tennessee. Shout out to my guy Kevin Giltner. He's now the associate head coach down at Virginia Tech playing ball, and he was a big time shooter. Came through. I know Walford very well. So now
Okay.
you sitting up there, you banging it out. Coming to your junior senior year, get on the map. Now you're starting to be there. You're ranked in the top 100 in the country, ESPN at the time. Now you
Yep.
missed the basketball, Carolina. How'd that make you feel?
I mean, it made me very confident. I think that once I started going to the camps where all of the top players were, and I started showing, or being able to play with them and outplaying some of those top guys, my confidence grew. So, I was like, okay, I belong. I was top 50 in the country, and I was seeing all of the top guys. Rod Strickland, Kenny Payne, Ben Wilson was in my class.
Yeah, Ben.
Yeah, Ben was in my class. So I saw a lot of top guys and playing against them at 5-star and prep star, and then being able to hold my own. That really gave me the confidence, that I needed, and then after I did that, a lot of the other offers started flowing in.
Yeah. I tell kids all the time, man. I wish back in the day, 'cause me and you that same class at 86, 87 is, and I was in Chicago with Ben. Matter of fact, the year that Ben got unfortunately was killed. We were
Right,
getting ready to play him that day, and he was one of the best ball players to step on the court coming out of the city of Chicago. And
right,
we didn't have the opportunity for coaches to put us in cars like I'm doing my AAU team now. We're going to ABDC camp, and you had to go to class
right,
first.
right.
Yeah.
Yep,
And you had to go outside. So a lot of the camps, they weren't in the gym. They were outside in the park. We go, there was Sonny Vaccaro and those guys coming in to
that's
do
right.
the camps, man. So,
That's right. That's
yes,
right.
I got kids now, Chucky, that I didn't have a gym about a couple months back. And I said, we're going to practice outside. And they were like, Coach, I don't have no shoes to go outside. What you mean you ain't got no shoes, man?
Right, right. Yeah, we had to do it. I remember 5-star when we did 5-star. That was outside.
Exactly. It's outside. I'm telling you, man. Then you go up to hoop group, man, all that, man.
Yep,
So it
yep.
was, it was
That was
done.
outside.
Exactly. So, now you get down to the nitty gritty, you get down to the top, and you start making this work. Now senior year becomes really crucial. Now, down in Tobacco Rose, how did you choose Wolfpack, Carolina State over NC? Because now you got to think about it. When you coming off the backside of Jordan and James Worthy, Perkins,
Right.
your boy Kenny Smith, my man's
Yep.
in them,
Yep.
just winning a national championship over Georgetown a few years earlier and all that. So, Dean had it rolling, right down the street. So what brought you to Wolfpack country?
Well, James Worthy was actually my favorite player, and the reason why I wore number 52. And Jimmy Black went
Oh,
to
okay.
the same high school I went to at Cardinal Hayes. So I was initially a Carolina fan, but what got me to NC State when I first moved down here from New York, my high school coach, that was the first place he brought me. I really didn't know anything about NC State. And my high school coach brought me up there, and they had a lot of New York dudes on the team. So Lorenzo Charles is from Brooklyn.
Yep.
Ernie Myers is from Spanish Harlem. I'm from Harlem, and me and Ernie knew some of the same people. They had got Tavian Benz was from the Bronx. So I kind of gravitated to the New York part of it. And V was from Long Island. Tommy and Betty Marco was from Long Island. Ray Martin was from Queens. So when I got up here, Lorenzo Charles took me out on my visit the first night. And Will took me out on the second night. So yeah. I just kind of gravitated to the New York City thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you go somewhere, like say if you go to Colorado and you find out there's a place where, a lot of New Yorkers are hanging out, you probably gonna go there. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Or you from Chicago, you find a lot of people from Chicago hanging out over here, you gonna go over there. You know what I mean?
Correct.
So that's how I ended up actually going to NC State, because I knew nothing about NC State. I knew all about Carolina, but nothing about NC State.
Oh man, that's amazing. We're gonna pick up from that point. We got a couple comments on that. We'll be right back. Val's gonna pay some bills real quick. We'll be right back on the Pull Up Podcast show with Coach Tony, my main man, the one and only NBA veteran, Chucky Brown. Val, pay some bills. We'll be right back.
Are you a small business owner looking to grow? Introducing the KeySpot mobile app. I'm Cynthia McAllister, owner of the IT company Quality SAT. Since 2016, we have been supporting small businesses and help them promote and share their businesses, services, and events across the country. KeySpot is more than just an app. We are a network providing community. KeySpot, connecting communities and supporting small businesses.
Oh, yeah, I see.
Now, as we come out of the locker room, heading into the second quarter on the Pull Up Podcast show with the one and only Coach Tony, and my guest here, Mr. Chucky Brown. Chucky, you said something. I ain't even realizing, me and you damn near neighbors before I come to Chicago to Kent folks, man. I'm a 125th and 5th, man. Marcus Garvey Projects right there in Harlem, baby.
Okay, yeah. I'm from 147th 7th Avenue, Esplanade Gardens.
Yeah, that's real talk there. So mom got Chicago, I got my Alabama connects, man, and so that was it. So I can understand exactly what you say, because my players still say it today. They're like, man, coach, you go anywhere without ripping the shot? Nah, I'm always got my Chicago hat on, something, because you'll be amazed the people you bump into and what they doing and where they at. There you go. I see the NYZ.
No, this is Chicago.
Yeah. Oh, that is good. Okay.
That's Chicago.
Yeah. I see that, dog. I see it. But I tell you, it's funny, man. This is how we are, man. And if you got any questions for the veteran tonight, Chucky Brown, got any questions, make sure you put it in the tagline so I can put the questions up, and we having an in-depth conversation, talking a little bit about the life and what everything was going on in the league with Chucky Brown. Now you in college. You at NC. I got an opportunity to check out the video. We're going to pause for a minute. Val, hey, drop that video real quick and kind of show a little bit of his skills out there. Let's just play this video. We'll be right back.
In the NBA. Jackson, number 5, Mashburn, number 6, averaging over 24 a game. Chucky Brown with a basket, and he's fouled. Goes and gets it. Kinney, good pass off. Chucky Brown, 2. There's that. Pixler steps behind the 3, almost did it. Oh, Chucky Brown picks it. Kenny Smith with a 3. Nope. In the 4 meetings with the Mavericks this year, Akeem was averaging 32 points a game. Chucky Brown
with another wraparound pass, an assist from Clyde.
Thursday night, we'll just have to wait and see. Clyde on the drive. Missed it. Tipped up by Chucky, right to Chilcutt. Doug Smith, number 1 draft choice several seasons ago. He misses. Chucky Brown goes and gets it. Tell you what, you just can't say enough about the job Chucky Brown and Pete Chilcutt have done for Houston. Move from Akeem. Chilcutt gets it back, puts it up for 2. Now Chucky Brown gets an assist. He tipped it across.
Kept it alive, sure did.
The basket to Pete. He goes left, comes back right. Chucky Brown inside 2. And that has affected him. Kenny Smith going up for the rebound. Gets it out to Drexler on the run. Got to beat Popeye Jones. Good pass, Chucky Brown. Every day, that's the one thing they can do. They can't work out hard, but they can work out. Chucky Brown takes it to the glass, and he draws a foul. Beautiful pick and roll play again between Chucky Brown and Clyde Drexler. Rebounds, 5 assists, a couple of steals. Kenny Smith up the escalator, missed it, tipped up and in by Chucky Brown.
Get down, Chucky Brown.
LA on the drive. Nice pass, Chucky Brown baseline. I'm telling you, these Rockets work so well together. And rebounds for Houston here tonight.
Up, and the third person, which is normally the big forward, going to the basket.
There's LA getting a step going left. Oh, Chucky Brown tips it up and in. By 2. They can get it up the court. They've got the numbers. Chucky Brown takes it in for the layup, and he's fouled by Jason Kidd. Mashburn picked up on the perimeter. Mashburn with a big game. He's got 35 points. Takes it in. Good defense by Chucky Brown. Well, I'll tell you, Chucky was just mauled from behind, and they're going to give the ball to Dallas.
Man, baby, that's flashback for you right there.
Yeah, that's a nice one.
Yeah, as we build up to that NBA, let's jump back into NC Stadium. So you now are coming in, as you mentioned earlier, coming in, Coach Valvano. I mean, you're coming off Wittenberg and them boys from upsetting one of the greatest teams that there was in Houston, and Elijah one of them boys. What was the expectations when you came in at NC State? Because you sitting there with a crew, baby. I mean, you in there with, like you said, Monster Masburn. You got Shackelford with you down there. You got Nate McMillan down there. You got Ernie Myers down there. I mean, y'all was loaded. Yeah, it was your freshman year. You was loaded.
Yeah. I mean, the expectations, were to win. I can remember, it's always a championship. You always want to win a championship. The goals were always set high. I can remember coming in the locker room and guys, this is before the first game. We had our first day of practice. They talking about, where we going to go for the NCAA tournament. So that was the mentality. Like, we wanted to win. You know what I'm saying? Like, everybody wanted to win, and everybody knew, like, you had to sacrifice something in order to win. So I think, like, just the mentality, like, just that first day hearing, like, okay, well, if we win this many games, we're going to be at this part of the, we're going to be in the East. You know what I'm saying? So if we win this many, we might have to go out West. It was just like, it was no talk of, well, if we get to the tournament. No, it was when we get to the tournament.
There you go.
Saying? So
yeah.
it was no if. It was like, yo, we're going to the tournament. So we spoke. I guess we spoke good things into the atmosphere, and good things happened.
Man, that's how you, like you say, you got to speak it into existence, or you don't make it, right?
That's right.
You
can't talk ill of yourself. You know what I mean?
Exactly. And your boy, my homeboy down in North Carolina, James Ward, said, "What's up, frat? There y'all go with that Phi Beta Sigma." I keep telling them,
go Bob.
He one of the only homeboys I got that's a Go Mob, and my boy Tim Harper. Go Mob. But I told you, man, it's always gonna be that Kane's time, baby. It's always gonna be that Krispy Kreme, baby. That Krispy Kreme.
Okay.
Man, so now you're sitting up and you guys had a hell of a freshman year. You won over 20 wins that year. And then Coach V kind of got sick and everything that was going on. But then you come back. That next year, you add my boy, was one of the best players I think that played at Carolina in that guard spot, Vinny Del Negro, jumps into the mix, man. And then you got Mike Giammi. And then, of course, you had Kenny Drummond. So now you guys are adding pieces on and on and on, man. What was the question here is from one of the guys said, while you were in the ACC, what was one of the toughest teams that you guys had to face?
So I'll say, my freshman year, probably one of the toughest teams that we faced probably was, Carolina was always tough. That's a rival. Right. But I think, outside of Carolina, I think it was Clemson Clemson and Georgia Tech my freshman year, because Clemson had they had Horace Grant. He was there
Right.
my freshman year. And then Georgia Tech had Mark Price, John Sally, Dwayne Farrell. So those
And Kenny, Mr. New York, Kenny Anderson.
well, Kenny Anderson wasn't there yet my freshman year. He wasn't
Okay.
there yet.
Oh,
But
that's right. He's in my class. Yeah.
Yeah, my freshman year, it was Georgia Tech and Clemson, outside of Carolina. Carolina was going to be tough because that's a rival.
Right.
But those two teams, I think, were a little underrated. And like my freshman year, those were the toughest team my freshman year. Now, throughout my 4 years, on the whole, I think, Duke or Carolina, they were always good.
Yeah.
They were always
Duke was on Duke was on the cusp of that. Duke was just kind of coming into being. They really didn't hit that to that early '90s when G Hill put them on the map and all that. So Duke was still coming because Grandmama and them beat them up in Vegas a couple times. So yeah, they was coming. I always love you guys. Uncle David Thompson, one of the greatest NC State Wolfpack guys ever. Family, just much love. But another question came in and says, "Hey Chucky, what was your toughest road game?" That's a great question.
The toughest place to play on the road, back then, we loved to go to Little John. Clemson wasn't really hard to play there.
Right.
Georgia Tech wasn't hard to play there. Probably the hardest place to play probably was Duke, because they used to let them do things that they don't do now. Like, we would play them, and like we would be playing, and they would be throwing a tennis ball across the, you'd be running down court, and you see a tennis ball fly, but you'd be looking like, what is going on here? So they did things to distract you. They don't let them do it anymore.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? They don't let them do it, but they used to throw a tennis ball across during the game.
That's
so I
crazy.
think Duke probably was a tough. Back then it was only 8 teams in the ACC. Maryland was in the ACC back then, and Maryland was. It was fun to play. It was fun to play in Cole Fieldhouse. It was fun to play in the Dean Dome. It was fun to play. I played the last game at Carmichael. It wasn't. It wasn't. Hard to play there. It was hard to play at Duke because they did things to distract you mentally. Like if you wasn't mentally tough enough, they get you.
Right. And I can see that. And that's crazy because, like you said, Maryland, before they came over to us, to the Big Ten, you down there competed against my man, Lefty Drizel. And Lefty kept a squad down there, and them Terps was always tough. My guy, Derek Reed, said, looking at when you came through that era, from high school into NC State, compare players of that era that you played in versus the kids you're looking at recruiting and looking at today.
I think the kids so back in the day, I don't think we thought as much about playing professionally. I know I did.
Right.
I didn't think it didn't really hit me until probably my junior year. I went to the Olympic trials in '88. And I made it down to the last 16, and then I was like, I'm here with all these dudes, and I'm, holding my own. You know what I mean? And I played well. It was just like mentally, I was ready to go. You know what I'm saying? I felt like, okay, I proved my point. But if I had to do over, I would have went ahead and not, I would have tried to make the team harder. You know what I'm saying? Like mentally, I was ready to go home. I was like, all right, I did what I had to do. I showed I could play. Now, go ahead and cut me so I can go home. You know what I'm saying? So I shouldn't have been. That shouldn't have been like that. But I don't think we thought about like now you got kids in high school thinking about going pro and like we thought more about. We loved the hoop. We loved it, and I don't think they get breaks like we did either. You know what I'm saying? Like. We didn't have a whole lot of AAU, so we had the camps. We went to camps. It was like 3 weeks. It was like 3 weeks of camp. So you had the Nike camp or ABC, the AFB camp. You had BC All Stars. You had Prep Stars, and you had 5 Stars. You know what I'm saying? So you did your 3 weeks of camp. Then you come home and you can still be a kid. A lot of the kids today, it's like like now I'm leaving the AAU tournament. You know what I'm saying? Right. like they do AAU, then it's gonna be something else. You know what I'm saying? They start school workouts. We didn't have school workouts. You know what I mean? So
we had no 6 weeks for June.
No, we didn't have all that. So now that they have that, I don't think these kids get as much of a break as we got, and it becomes. I think it's more of a grind for them than it was for us. It was fun. It was fun for us. You know what I'm saying? I think some of these kids is more for a grind, and I think they get burnt out a little easier than we would. But I think that they think more about basketball being professionals before we did. Like I said, it didn't hit me till my junior year in college.
Right.
That maybe I could do this. They thinking it. Freshmen in high school, they talking about the league. So I think that's the big. I think that's probably the biggest difference.
And I'm gonna add one to that too. You guys, when we played back in the day, Chuck, we graduated, man. We watched Georgetown with John Thompson with Pat and Morning and them boys coming up with Matumbo. We had already seen God dog it. I had to slip. But we graduated. We had people in there, and they could have went pro early, but they graduated. Lee and Bond, that's all.
Okay, so guys went for 4 years too. You didn't come out early unless you were special.
Correct.
Magic Johnson special. Now people don't remember. Larry Bird was a junior. Larry Bird got drafted and went back to college. He didn't come right out.
Correct.
He went back to college, you know what I'm saying, and came out the next year. So guys were a lot more seasoned. Like when I came into the NBA, it was grown men in the league. You know what I'm saying? It was grown men feeding their families. Now, dudes are getting drafted at 19, 18, and you got young dudes. It's like the veteran. We always had good veterans. Like when I came, Tree Rollins in his 13th year, Larry Nance in his 11th year. So you have veterans there to teach you how to become a pro. Now these guys, I don't think they really have that like it used to be. I don't think they really have that. The league has gotten a lot younger. You know what I'm saying? So, and I think that that's why the game is like it is. So I mean, but it is what it is.
Yeah, it is. Man, I tell you, we have an in-depth, as we say, with one and only Coach Tony in the Pull Up Podcast Show, quarter by quarter sports info with my guy Chucky Brown. Val, this is halftime. We got to take these boys in the locker room and talk to them for a minute. I got to win this game. Pay some more bills. We'll be right back. Hey, it's your main man, right back at you. Coming live here from the Rise Studios. And it's your guy talking about what? Pull Up Podcast Show. What is the Pull Up Podcast Show? It's a brand new podcast hitting your airways nationwide, talking everything on sports, from baseball, basketball, hockey, and then I tell you, we're going to have a lot of fun. So make sure, if you want your questions answered, you want to have fun talking a lot of sports, make sure you pull up on me, because it's the Pull Up Podcast Show.
It's the Pull Up Podcast. It's the Pull Up Podcast. It's the Pull Up Podcast. Pull up, pull up.
Also, for those that want to learn a little bit more about this right here, oh yeah. That right there, that's the Rise, NIL, talking name, image, and likeness. Those having opportunities, getting paid, you want to tune in to it.
Sports show, let's go. It's the Pull Up Podcast show. It's the Pull Up Podcast. It's the Pull Up Podcast. It's the Pull Up Podcast. Pull up. It's the Pull Up Podcast. It's the Pull Up Podcast. It's the Pull Up Podcast. Pull up.
Man, we coming out of the locker room in the third quarter here with your man, Coach Tony, and my guy, Chucky Brown. I wore this for a special reason tonight, Chuck. You see, I threw them ponies on, baby. See what I'm saying? I wore this because what people don't realize, and I'm going to ask you, a little bit about it. I was talking to my coach this past weekend. Back when we was playing, ponies was like Nikes. We had a lot of them had them Avias. Avias was in there. The Pro Kids was in there. Reebok was coming on the set. We thought they were going to be big. Nike was just kind of joining the game because of what Jordan was doing. But,
Right.
was there any particular shoe that really was a brand or shoe that you like wearing, playing?
I would say I remember back then. I remember those top 10 Adidas.
Top
There
10
was
Adidas. I remember
the
them, baby.
Adidas top 10. So, and
Yeah.
I had a pair of ponies because David Thompson used to wear ponies. So,
Hey, I had a pair logoed out that I wore in high school with my name Thompson on the back, and the boys, if people kept wondering, where the hell you get them out? Don't worry about that. Just keep on playing.
right. But when I was playing in the pros, my first shoe was Converse. So
Yep.
I wore Converse my first year, my rookie year, but then I broke my foot at the end of the year, and after that, I went on to wear I wore Nikes most of my career.
Okay. Yeah,
I wore Nikes most of my career.
That's crazy. Now, speaking of the career, so now you come out of NC State, number 43rd draft pick, going into the Cleveland Cavaliers. Now, here's a funny thing. I talk to guys because I think the younger guys understand Jamal Crawford because he talked about how he lived out of a suitcase for his entire career. But I got somebody right here, for those that listen to the show tonight, who literally lived out of a suitcase for a little over a decade. Started out in Cleveland, 1989, and he played for 12 teams. Before we get into it, I'm going to name them real quick. He ended up playing for Cleveland Cavaliers. He came out, and he left them in 89, 91. Then he went on to LA Lakers. Then he went on to New Jersey Nets, the Mavs. Then he had a little time spent in the CBA overseas, came back. Then after he got back, what happened? My man, Jordan and them, unfortunately what happened to Mr. Jordan, Mike steps away. He gets an opportunity to win a championship ring with the Houston Rockets in 95, 96. Then he gets a chance to then go on to Phoenix Suns. Then he finishes up with Milwaukee, Atlanta Hawks, Charlotte, Spurs, and finishes his career in Charlotte. Along those stops, which ones were the most interesting to you?
Oh, man. I have a couple.
Obviously, the championship year definitely had to be one.
Right, the championship year. I think the team, when I was in New Jersey, that was a good young team. And we were we used to hang out together. Like, it was a young team, so it was like a college atmosphere. You know what I'm saying? Like, when you get in the pros, a lot of times dudes got families, so you see them at practice and that's it. You don't really hang out other than at functions. But in New Jersey, a lot of times we went to movies together. We went to the club together. We just kind of hung out together.
Right. Petra was in New Jersey with you, wasn't he? When he was over from Europe.
Drazen. Yep, Drazen was there with us. Yep. So Drazen.
That was a nice squad, baby.
And Kenny Anderson was there. Derek Coleman. We had a good mix of young and old. We had Maurice Cheeks. We had Bernard King. We had Rick Mahorn.
I forgot about Big Rick.
Yep, Sam Bowie, Chris Morris. We had a good mix of young and old. Tate George. I was only in my fourth year at the time, so I was still young. You know what I mean? So, but we had a good mix. I'll say that the Sacramento Kings team, my last year, was probably one of the more interesting teams too, because that was a team that
Vlade and C. Webb on that squad.
Chris Webber, Mike Bibby, Bobby Jackson, Patine Cleaves, Hito Turkoglu, Peja Stojakovic. We were Doug Christie. We were clearly better.
Yeah,
we were clearly better than the Lakers, and because of some calls that didn't go our way, we ended up losing that series. And we were clearly better than them. We clearly outplayed them that entire series.
Man, that is. Hey, man, I got an old guy of mine, Dr. Glover, checking in tonight from Fisk University. You got to keep them HBCUs hot. And my man, one of your boys, Chucky, Kenny Blakeney over there at HU in the house, So now me and you will have to argue for a little bit in this next piece because me and my assistant coach this weekend, he pulls up a video, and I love him to death, with Vernon Maxwell, because Vernon was ridiculous, right? Now, unfortunately, Mike gets, again, had to step away because of Pops and all that. Ended up playing a little baseball before he came back. We had to show everybody, what we do in the Shy, because while he was in Cleveland, we had to shut him down, for a decade. But we argue, and my argument to him, and I need to hear your answer, because you was a part of this. I told him, if Mike's dad unfortunately doesn't get murdered, right? Because that's what happened. And Mike doesn't step away from the game. The Chicago Bulls possibly pulls off something that's never been done since the Boston Celtics and win 8 straight rings. Now, I know y'all got them 2 in the middle. Now, according to Vernon Maxwell, the year that you guys were there, he said y'all beat the hell out the Bulls and all that. Who was going to stop Olajuwon? Now, I'm going to give you from my perspective. No one was going to stop Mike. We already know. Give Mike his 30, 40 or whatever. And we got to contain Pip on the wing. But if Mike would have been there and you guys had that lineup you had in 95, do you think that you could have beat the Bulls head up for that NBA ring?
Oh, without a doubt, we'd have beat the Bulls in 6. So I'm going to tell you why. So, first
the
of all,
same number that we beat everybody else in the 6.
I'll tell you why. So now, first of all, you had no matchup for Dream. You had nobody, right, for Dream.
That's true. That's true.
Okay, so now,
because Will Perdue and Bill Cartwright couldn't handle it.
Couldn't handle him. So, okay, so Robert Horry and Scottie Pippen would cancel each other out. I think Robert Horry could play with Pip.
Yeah, I think give or take 6 or 7 points, Pip got it.
Okay, now you got Jordan and Drexler. Okay, Jordan's going to win the majority, but Clyde is right there. You know, Jordan is 1A. There's no question.
Right.
Clyde is probably 2A, right there. But Clyde,
the only thing I'm gonna say about that is when Clyde finally came, Mike had the ocean in front of him. That's all I'm gonna say. Mike killed him in Portland.
Okay, so now, if you go back and look at the scores, Jordan got his 40. Clyde probably had 30.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So Clyde was right there. You know what I'm saying? That's what he's right there. Now, if we go to the bench, okay, Sam Cassell is better than B.J. Armstrong, Steve Kerr, anybody. Right?
Yeah. I give you that.
You got Mario Elie. You know what I'm saying?
Mario Elie. I remember Mario Elie. Yep.
Nobody. I don't see nobody.
Defensive guru.
So I don't think there was nobody there better than him. Okay, so now I'm trying to think who would my matchup be? Probably like
your
Scott
matchup would probably be my boy, the waiter, and Tony Kukoc.
I mean, Tony probably gets the scoring on that one. Tony was tough to guard. Tony was good at scoring. But defensively, Tony was a liability.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, we showed that in the Olympics.
Right. So Tony will tell you that. So I think we would win because I think we win more of the matchups now. The big matchup, you guys will win the big matchup at the guard spot. We got the big matchup at the center spot, but every other matchup is like right there other than Sam Cassell coming off the bench. I don't see nobody that matched up with him. So I think our bench was better, and that's why we would win.
Now, I'm going to give you one off the bench. I think that with Cassell coming off the bench, we had to put Ron Harper on it. I think Ron Harper would have.
So which championship team are we talking about now? Ron.
Okay, that's right. You're right. You're right. Ron wasn't there yet. You're right.
Which set we talking?
Right. Yeah. Ron wasn't. Yeah, because Ron didn't come to Mike, got back. You're right. That's
right. So if we're talking that first group, they're done.
Now,
they're done.
You didn't have to mention Vernon Maxwell. That was a thug of the squad. I love Vern, man. Big time Vern, Georgia boy, man.
Right. See, Vern. See, the reason why Jordan didn't really want to mess with Vern too much because Vern would try to fight him. You know
Vern always try to fight. Yeah, but they try to have a couple fights. Yeah.
Right. So Vern was tough. Vern was tough. Now Vern would try to get him out, but Jordan never fell for it. You know what I'm saying? He kept it. Jordan kept his head. Jordan knew what he was trying to do.
Yeah. Vern was like the epitome of a Dennis Rodman and a PG kind of. You know, he gonna get up on you. He gonna be that fly on some watermelon. He gonna get at you, and then he ain't backing down. You talk to him something crazy, he talking crazy right back.
Yep, that's right. That's right.
Yeah,
so that was the. I think our bench would have us beat them. That's why we would win. Is because I think our bench was better.
Yeah, I'm gonna give you that because no one gets the name the Dream Shake like Olajuwon, because Olajuwon was to put him in the blender, baby. He's to put a little strawberries, some blueberries in there with a little topping. You need a little protein, because he come that baseline and he stick that rock out, then he pump fake it, then he spin you out. Next thing you know, somebody falling down back there, he laying the ball up, man. Like he was ridiculous. You
Yeah,
know,
Dream was a beast, man. He was a beast.
man, and you guys had Coach Tommy. So Coach Tom was already a European type coach getting into there.
Yep.
So, I'm not, Chucky, I think I'm about to put that game on NBA 2K. I'm about
Okay.
to, I'm about,
All right.
I'm about to put it on 2K and let you know the computer come up with,
All
man.
right. That'll work.
Man, I tell you, boy, and it was crazy. That year that you guys won it and coming out the West, I think what the East had, the Knicks, was it the Knicks coming out of the East with John Starks and Pat?
Well, I was on the second championship team, so the year that we won it, that was the year. Matter of fact, Mike had came back. That's when he had 45 on in Orlando.
Yeah, you only came back a half a season that year. That's the year that Orlando, matter of fact,
Right.
that's the year Orlando, the Magic put us out with Shaq them.
That's right. So then we took care of Orlando
Right.
when they got there. So that was Orlando, but we were a 6th seed. We were the 6th seed coming out. So we had
Yes.
to beat all of the toughest teams. So when we first got in the playoffs, this was the year. This was when it was the best 3 out of 5. So
Right.
everybody had the home court against us. So we had to beat Utah the first round in 5. The next round would be Phoenix in 7. The next round would be San Antonio in 6. And then the next round we beat Orlando. We swept Orlando. And Orlando was the 1 seed. San Antonio was the 1 in the West. Phoenix was the 2 seed, and Utah was the 3 seed.
So wow, so you had to beat the pick and roll with Stockton to Malone. You had to beat the speed out there with Barkley and Kevin Johnson running, and your boys were spotting up on the corner. You had to go beat who else you say? San Antonio with David Robinson. So you got David Robinson and them boys down there. You had to beat them down there with Rudy and all them. They were down there playing. Man, and Sean Higgins was on that squad at that time too.
Yeah, he didn't play
Not
that
Sean
much.
Higgins, but Sean Elliott.
Oh, Sean Elliott. Yeah. Sean Elliott was tough. Sean Elliott was tough. They had a squad. They had a nice squad.
Arizona boy, they were, man, that is, woo, man, I tell you, my boy Coach Justin Allen gonna love you, man. We argued about this the other day. He gonna love you on this. Hey, we are talking basketball quarter by quarter tonight, having a lot of fun with my guy Chucky Brown, baby. We're gonna be back for the 4th quarter on the Pull Up Podcast Show, episode 122. As we come to the finale, I couldn't have a better guest than I got tonight. Make sure you like us, you share us, you subscribe to the show, one of the hottest sports shows in the country. Val, pay my last bill and get these bill collectors out of my pocket. We'll be right back.
I've always thought about how my mom has supported me in any creative endeavor. How beautiful was it for your mom to be the superhero in your life and show up in your creative ventures with this book?
People ask her to sign the book more than they ask me to sign the book. Sometimes I step to the side, I take their picture. And, we have to celebrate our mothers. We got to celebrate our beginning. So she comes out with me. Every event, she is there. Even when I tell her she does not need to come, she will show up in the parking lot. And I'm like, oh, okay, you coming? Okay. I'm like, all right.
Right. And she got a bottle of wine in her hand.
What in the world? Why are you giving her alcohol?
No, I'm just saying. She showed up in the parking lot. She got a bottle of wine, nice wine. She's going to set it down. She ready for the show, Val. You know what I'm saying? Because the funny part about it is, CJ, I've actually talked to Val. I thought about, writing a book myself called My Man's in Them.
I love it.
And look at Val.
My man's in them.
My man's in them. But you got to read the book. You got to read the book. But it's a play. CJ, I apologize because Val should have dropped some old Dub C so you could have came out crip walking. You know what I'm saying?
I'm not flamed up right now. I got to hold on. Trying to get me shot.
Going back to school tomorrow, like, I saw you, Miss Charles. I saw you.
I mean, I can crip walk, so please, but I'm kind of, I'm authoring right now. You guys are funny.
Man, welcome back to the Pull Up Podcast Show with the one and only Coach Tony. As we come out that huddle for the fourth quarter. You know how that fourth quarter is, Chucky. Hey, let's go, baby. Got to close this game out.
Let's close it out. Let's
Man,
finish strong.
I'll tell you. So I want to send another big shout out to your boy and my boy, going by the way of DePaul coming in. My man David Booth. I sent Booth the info earlier tonight. Hopefully he jumped on. So you now get about the league, man, and end up at New Orleans down there on staff, man. How was that, in the NBA side house that you now transition from a player now into the coaching staff?
I think it was great. I was a scout down with the Pelicans, and that was fun, because you get to watch and evaluate talent. So I really enjoyed the scouting. Dale Demps was the general manager at the time, and he called me, and David Booth was there working at the time as well, and he was the director of scouting. So, it was fun to go and just watch guys because it was fun for me to find out background information. You could see what guy can play. You could see that, right? But the things you had to find out was the things that, that you couldn't see, like the type of character the person was. So I really enjoyed, talking to, the team manager, because you talk to the team manager because how they treat the team manager is probably how they are. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Because most of the time the team manager is like the guy that picks up the towels, goes to get you water. And if you're disrespectful to that guy, you're probably a disrespectful guy. You know what I'm saying? So it was fun to do that. And I remember one time, one funny story. We had a guy. We were in Portsmouth. So we had a guy. I had got some background information on him down to the drink that he liked at the club. What was it? I think it was like a rum and coke was his drink. So what we would do is we would get the guys in the room and we would ask them questions that we already knew the answer to.
Okay.
So just to see if they would be truthful. So it was one guy that we had in Portsmouth, and so we asked him some questions like, okay, do you like to go to the club? So he said, yeah. He said, so we knew that. So we're glad he told us the truth. So then we was like, well, do you drink when you go to the club? And he was like, yeah, man, I can't lie, man. I go get me that rum and coke. So it was funny, but also it was good that he told us the truth. So now that we know the truth, now, okay, we can deal with you. You know what I'm saying? Now we know the truth. No, you didn't lie. So if you lied, then that's the type of person you are. So we knew that this guy was a good character guy that, go out and have a good time. Okay, everybody want to go out and have a good time, especially when you're young. So, it was fun for me to find out that background information about the guys, and then, to be able to sit there and talk to them, and you could tell what type of people they were.
Right, man. That is funny that you said that, Chucky, because I was talking to my team a few weeks ago just about character, exactly what you said. And I said, at the major level, the higher up you go, they got coaches that literally, one of my coaches back in the day, my boy Darren Hurts, good friend of mine, he's now up at Dayton right now, Dayton University, up there with my guy, we with Coach Grant. And I remember when he was with Billy Donovan, we would stop in Florida all the time in Gainesville on the way to Orlando, because that's where the Nationals always were. So, Coach Darren, man, never closed the door, always took the AAU team. He would tell the guys, we got coaches on staff that we would send to McDonald's just to sit at McDonald's during an AAU tournament. They never watch the game, because then when the kids come in, they want to know if who's throwing paper on the floor, who's goofing off, put ice cream on somebody's face, or trying to smack a girl on the bottom, or talking disrespectful to people, cursing, listen. Because then if you're disrespectful to that, now I got to get you to this college and university with no mother, no parent. I'm not watching 24 hours. There are going to be frat parties. There are going to be all kinds of liquor. How are you going to control yourself in a bigger environment? So that's funny that you said that, even about the league is incredible.
Right, because especially the NBA, you got a whole, dudes are making a whole lot of money. You know what I'm saying? Like, people don't have time to be worried about getting a 3 a.m., 4 a.m. phone call, paying you all this money.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying? So I think, especially, making all that money, if you're going to give a guy a lot of money, you got to make sure you got good character. You You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like character is a big. Even like now, I'm coaching the D2. Character is a big thing because how you are when times are bad. That's how you are.
Correct.
That's who you are. Because everybody, when the going gets good, everybody loves everything good.
Oh yeah.
You know
But
what I'm saying? It's
can you
all
pull it back
good.
together? Right. Can you pull
Right.
it back together?
Right. So how you are when times are rough is how you are.
Yeah. That's hey, if you guys had not listened to my man Chucky drops nuggets for you, and that's that real true life nuggets. Now the cool part, as you just mentioned, now you sit down in St. Augustine, leave the league to jump back to college. So now you go back for these guys that are men making a living for their family, millions of dollars, to come back to these young college amateur athletes. Now you land at St. Augustine, and like I told you, man, you got some stuff. So I got some players for you. So we good on that tip. But now
Right.
we at St. Augustine doing our thing, man. In your mental mindset, when you said, you know something, I'm gonna take a leap of faith, and I'm gonna go down here and teach these young men the game of basketball that I love so much to try to make professionals out of them. What was that thought process you kind of went to, and then you decided to take that college job?
Actually, it just made sense. You know, I live down here. You know, I have a daughter that plays high school basketball, so I could actually coach my games and still watch her play as well. So
That makes
and
sense.
be and be at home. You know what I mean? So
Yep.
it just made sense, and it just felt like that's where I needed to be. You know what I'm saying? Like when you get older,
Yep.
you know, certain things happen. You know, that just feels like this is where I need to be right now. Now maybe something happens where I need to be somewhere else. I'll feel that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
it just felt right for me to be there, and you know, just working with, you know, and honestly, you know, I'm gonna be totally honest. You know, I enjoy working with the dudes, the players.
Yep.
What I don't enjoy is dealing with the administration. I don't
Oh wow.
enjoy those people. I don't enjoy them.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest with
Hey,
you.
I know. Hey, I'm 23 years on the college sideline. I get it, baby. I get it. You know, and it's
So
difficult. You got paperwork now. You got, and the one thing that you got to deal with, and I was going to ask you, and one of the questions came in says, now that you are transitioning from the NBA to college, how do you plan on handling the NIL situation? Because I spoke about that on my show in depth, Chucky. We talk about the NIL big time because you and I know, period, that the NIL is going to shape, and I'm telling everybody, they don't listen to me. I've been preaching this for the last year on the show, but the NIL is shaping up NCAA football and basketball, and by 2030, it's going to be on another level. And I personally think, this is my opinion, I personally think when it comes to the Power Five, there's going to be down to the Power Three, and it's going to be the Big Ten, the SEC, and it's either going to be a toss-up between the ACC and the Big 12, whichever one of those conferences are more powerful, and the other one's going to drop. You have three power conferences, and all those schools be there. I think the football playoff will expand to 16 teams like college March Madness, because then it's all about the money, and NIL will have its place. So now that you're leaving the NBA to get to college dealing with these NIL collectives, what's the difference, or what do you see that's going to be one of your obstacles to deal with while you also coaching these young men?
okay, so first I'm gonna say this. I said that the ACC is gonna be in trouble. So the ACC is in trouble because teams want to leave the ACC. The
Yep.
Big 12 is where teams are not asking to leave the Big 12 really. You know, other than I think it was Oklahoma and Texas are the only two, but we know why they left.
But they got Colorado. They got Colorado and them boys from the back again. So Colorado came back home, and then you added one from the Pac-12, so they ended up being good.
They've been being good. Now the ACC, you got Clemson wants to leave. You got Florida State want out. You got Miami wanting out. You got
Yep.
Carolina wanting out. So they want out. So I think the ACC is going to be in a little trouble. So I think the Big 12 will be that conference that stays standing because I've heard that the Big 12 is going to probably pursue, I think it was Georgia Tech, either Georgia Tech or NC State.
Yep.
And it was might have been Florida State and Clemson
Yeah, I think Florida. I think Clemson is looking at the SEC. I think Clemson and Virginia, and I know that we in the Big Ten, we're pursuing Carolina, Carolina and possibly Duke, because that makes a great. You can get, because we already got the best the Pac-12 can give up. We got USC, UCLA, Washington, and Oregon. Yeah, and if we can get a Carolina or a Duke to jump to the Big Ten, that's a wrap.
Over. Yeah, it's a wrap. Yep. So I think the ACC is going to be in trouble now. As far as the NIL goes, my school, I ain't got to worry about it. I ain't got to worry about it. You know, we have different things where we help the guys, with food coupons and buying food and little stuff like that. But as far as like the NIL, what it's going to do for the college landscape, man, it's gonna be wild, wild west. It's gonna be free agency. Like I just saw where Oregon said that they got unlimited NIL money, and that's Phil Knight is there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's his school. So
I mean, think about it though, Chuck. Let's throw a boomerang in it real quick, right? So we're coming off the back of West Virginia and Tennessee winning the Sherman Wright Act over the NCAA for football. So the NCAA gets pissed off and says, you know something? Since you guys want to act like that, starting this August, all the Power 5 schools, they got unlimited transfers. So now I go from babysitting a kid from year to year to now from week to week, because if coach don't play me and I want to transfer, he may not know that Chucky Brown is my roommate. I get Chucky to transfer with me. That's not only one, but I'm taking two up out of there. So when you're looking at that, like you said, with NIL, and then you adding people like a Phil Knight with Nike, you add Under Armour in the mix, you add in some of these major corporations, and you already talking about I got unlimited transfers. This is what I think coming in this year. You tell me if I'm right or I'm wrong. If that occurs and they can't figure out a way to put a bolt or some glue or some duct tape on that, when you get to the playoffs, either for football or March Madness, the top players in the country transfers to one school and no one's going to stop them.
Right. Oh yeah. See, the thing, the whole thing is, to me, and I've been saying this, man, is they allowed this stuff without really having rules and thinking it through. You know what I'm saying? And now stuff is starting to get out of control as it is.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So yeah, they got to find some gorilla glue or something to try to
right, that gorilla glue. And that gorilla glue it too.
That gorilla glue it to it. So they got to get some gorilla glue and try to patch this thing up. But right now, I mean, it might get to the point where they're not going to be able to patch it up. They're just going to have to be able to maybe throw a little water on it and tone it down a little bit. But it's getting crazy. It's getting crazy.
Yeah, that's so the recommendation, and I don't know if this is going to happen. Basketball is a little different because we ain't got to do nothing but manage 15 kids, right? With a couple of people on injury reserve, maybe a couple of hardships or a couple of red shirt guys. We good. But football, they just cut the roster down to 90. So 90 from 120 something, 125, 130 I think to 90. So they lose about 30, 40 scholarships for one.
Right.
And the crazy part about it is with this NIL money, a lot of people, they're only seeing the 1%. That's what gets me, Chucky, because they think that the $1 million that Bronny got and the $1.5 million, those are only a small percentage of these players in college. The average NIL deal is only about $3,000. And the people are not seeing that because the TV keep portraying these big deals. But if you got the Nikes of the world and all that, what they want to do, the NCAA, they came out with a report a few months ago and said they would like to pull away and they would like to handle college athletics, basketball to the NBA and football to the NFL, kind of making it a corporation. But the problem to that is the NFL is not going to manage college football because there's too many college teams. You got 30 NFL teams. I'm not going to manage 260 colleges. I'm not doing that.
Right.
What do you think about that?
Huh?
What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense that the NFL, stay off of that. So stay away from that because the NFL already has their stuff they got a lot of issues that they've got to manage because they still got the concussion thing they got to deal with. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Where
Forgot about that.
They got the concussion thing. Now they got the deal where they're talking about quarterbacks having different salary caps or something like that, or quarterbacks not counting against the cap, where also they're not paying the running back position, or not wanting to pay the running back position its due. So they got enough to worry about. So I don't see the NFL stepping in and managing the college. I don't see that. I don't see that happening at all.
Man, that's crazy, man. Before we get out of here, man, go ahead and let these guys know, man, down in St. Augustine, your info, man. And, if they want to reach out, anyone's got a player that they can send out to or want to help you grow that program, how can they reach out to you?
They can reach out to me. I'm on all the social media platforms, Chucky Brown 52. I'm on TikTok. Twitter is 52, Chucky Brown 52, or X, as they call it, X.
X, right. I still call it Twitter. I'm like you. I'm old school. I still call it Twitter.
Right. So I'm on all of that. I also, myself and Kenny Anderson, we're trying to start our own little podcast called Dropping Dimes. So I'll let you know when that starts so you can check that out yourself. Hey, Coach
get on him because, I almost had to choke him out, around here at Fisk, man, down the street. I come through. Hey, I had to tell him 15 times about my cousin used to run with him in New York. He's like, "Ooh, come on, Kenny." You know how we do it, man. But, hey, as we wrap up here, it's been great tonight. I've had with me, I can't ask for a better guest that came on tonight, my man, Clarence Chucky Brown, baby, from Tobacco Hill down in North Kakalaka by way of NC State and his rounds in the NBA. And I wish him nothing but the best as you make that next move on to St. Augustine University. And like I said, I'm going to do everything I can do to help you build that program up. So make sure tomorrow, by the way, this right here in the Rise Studios, what we're talking about, as we spoke about NIL process, make sure you tune in to my sports agency. This is The Rise NIL at www.therizenil.com, where we match athletes and sports agencies together, making sure everyone is a big beneficial to that. And also tomorrow night, as we move forward, tomorrow night, we got none other than part 2 on our music and entertainment side of the house, and Interludes Extra Talk on Tuesday with my girl, Val the Voice, and of course me, Coach Tony. We're going to talk tomorrow night about, if you have not seen the series on Netflix on Simone Biles, you need to check that out. And also with Sprint, dealing with Sha'Carri Richardson and the guys from Team USA, we're going to pump up the Olympics because it's right around the corner. So make sure you do that. This is also Patreon, and we're going to talk a little bit about that. So I appreciate you guys tonight. Chuck, man, be careful on this road as we start to get on home, man. I want to thank you again for taking time. I'm glad I could take up a little of that road because, you get on that road, baby, your head start bobbling left and right. You know what I'm saying? So, hey, man, get home safely. We'll be on. Hold on for a minute, Chuck, before you go. We're going to pop right back to you. Remember, thank you. Closing out this season, episode 122 with your main man, Coach Tony, in the Pull Up Podcast Show. We're going to take a season break. We'll be back as Val and I put together season number 2. We got some surprises in the house for you. Keep on listening. We're going to come with a show for fans so they can jump on the show with me. We're going to talk sports. We're going to argue about some things that they've been wanting to talk to me about a little bit. So I appreciate you and thank you so much for making this first season such a success on the Pull Up Podcast Show. But you know my words. I got to get out of here. So peace.
It's the Pull Up Podcast. It's the Pull Up Podcast. It's the Pull Up Podcast. Pull up, pull up. It's the Pull Up Podcast. It's the Pull Up Podcast. It's the Pull Up Podcast. Pull up, pull up. Val's the voice and Coach Tony, it's the Pull Up Podcast. So, I said Val's the voice and Coach Tony, it's the Pull Up Podcast. So.